It's a Spotify podcast. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the show. If you do like the video, please subscribe and like it. It really would help us. We're in infancy stages, and thank you so much. You pushed me down, thought I'd stay on the ground, counting me. One. We're live. Hey, this is Merranda. Finally, we got her on the show, and we're going to learn a little bit about Merranda today. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am not a Texas native. I grew up in southern Michigan, and upon becoming of age, I traveled around the country and decided that I really liked Arizona. So that's where I decided to spend most of my 20s. Went to college out there, trade school.
So tell us about your childhood.
Okay.
Let's start from the beginning. By the way, Miranda's one of my ride or dies. When I got out of jail, this is one of two people that was coming over here all the time, making sure I was still alive. So bringing me things and doing stuff for me. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. He's my ride or die as well. Always there to help me out with any computer problems and talk me down off the ledge when I was learning new things. And yeah.
Cool.
So it goes both ways.
So tell us about your childhood.
Yeah. So I grew up in a low-income neighborhood. My parents divorced when I was 6. I'm one of 6 kids that they had together. And my mom raised us pretty much on her own. My grandma would help out, babysitting and whatnot. But, we grew up going to a Christian church and school. And it wasn't always easy to be low income and a little bit different, being raised by a woman who had pretty rigorous views, but could be kind of hypocritical.
You mean like religious rigorous views?
Yes, definitely. As well as just general etiquette and how to behave. But, she didn't always behave super well herself. So, she had it pretty rough. She grew up in a rough way. We both, she went through childhood abuse. And, that can be a really hard cycle to break. So, basically, she did not have, the tools to, and the time to really take a look at herself, assess, and do things differently. So, we grew up kind of rough and a little bit ostracized by the people in the church and school because they were affiliated. And, then the people in the neighborhood thought we were weird because we didn't go to school with them. And again, with all of the rigorous views and not celebrating Halloween, and everything was just always brought back to Christianity instead of just letting it be a little more void of that kind of perspective.
What kind of impact do you think that had on your life?
Well, I think that it made me look at the church generally, like westernized religion, very judgmentally, and very with a lot of mistrust. There's a lot of hypocrisy going on in the world, and there's a lot of hypocrisy in religion. People say one thing, do another.
Right.
Think that showing up one day a week and saying they're sorry absolves them of any consequence or feelings of guilt,
right,
or their comeuppance, And so I always kind of looked down my nose at those westernized belief systems. But it did give me kind of a different perspective when I was in college. I decided to take a world religion class and learn more about like the biggest religions here on planet Earth. And, I found that not all religion is trash or hypocritical. And there's always the common theme of love, be loved, do right by others. But it gave me a new perspective on the fact that westernized religion can be a good thing. It's just a lot of people abuse that system.
So you have a problem more with the people, not with the actual religion?
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I'm a firm believer that you should be allowed to believe whatever you want to believe, But if what you believe and what you talk about isn't showing in your actions and in your words and how your experiences vibrate, and ripple throughout your reality, then that's where I really have a problem with it.
Gotcha. Tell us about your teen years
So my mom did not have those tools and, anger issues and, she remarried to a man who was seemingly good, joined our church, helped raise us, but eventually started to abuse all of us, me in a different way. And once that all came out, after a lot of my lashing out, I would run away. The cops were getting called several times a week to my home to break up domestic disputes between me and my mother and her husband. The courts got involved.
Sure.
So I was removed from the home and I was put into foster care. And I was in foster care technically until I came of age. But due to the fact that I had so much anger and confusion and I wasn't being placed in the best of homes, I eventually started running away again and started, just being defiant. And wasn't going to my counseling meetings, but they found a way to help me have some sense of independence through a program called Independent Living. So basically, I went to school, I went to work, I showed proof that I was doing those things, and then they would supplement my income and I could live on my own. And I was doing that by the time I was 15 and a half. So
do you think any of that kind of shaped your future going forward?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I still have problems with authority. I don't like being told what to do. I like doing things for myself. It made me very hyper independent. I still struggle with asking for help, even with little things. You know this to be true.
I know.
You have to get your computer over here. I'll help you. I'm like, I don't want to be a bother. I should be able to do this on my own.
Yeah, but everybody has skills that they do. So
well, and everybody has gaps. Nobody's perfect.
So let's talk about so you're independent now,
Yes.
entering adulthood. What happened when you became an adult? How did you support yourself?
So I, after a lot of trips around the country, the lower 48, and deciding on moving to Arizona with my then boyfriend, I was trying to find a job, staying on a friend's couch, and was having trouble finding something that was going to be lucrative enough and that I wasn't going to hate. I don't like to waste my time with jobs that I'm going to quit in 10 days, 10 weeks. A friend of the friend where I was staying was a dancer, and she made it sound pretty glamorous. And so I went to the place where she worked and auditioned, got hired, and started making pretty good money really fast. And decided, wow, this is great. And yeah, I did that. Actually, I did that for a really long time. I actually just completely stopped working and changed careers. But yeah, on and off, I've been able to use that job to move me forward, to not have debt, to travel, to help my family with their needs monetarily. And
I'm sure a lot of people want to know, like, this portion of it. Like, they're probably wanting to know, like, okay, tell us what is the craziest thing you've seen in a club? Or what do you think that most people have a misconception about in a club?
That's a great question, because the people that work in these in these types of environments are people just like anyone else, and ultimately deserve respect because we are all hard workers. And there's a misconception that everybody has substance use problems and they're flaky and they're not to be trusted and that they do unsavory things. And some of the time that's the case, but it's not by and large the truth. All of these places have rules, regulations. They're monitored by TABC and law enforcement. And, if we're caught breaking those rules, the whole place gets shut down. That means kids don't eat, mortgages don't get paid, nursing school tuitions don't get paid. There's a lot of people that use that environment and that resource to build themselves up, which is what I always tried to do.
What would you say the majority of the people that work there, what do you think that they, what they're supporting or what they're doing, like age range, and what type of people are those?
Well,
or is it a mix?
I feel like there's this stigma that every woman who does that job, who's an entertainer, has daddy issues, which is not always the case. And I think that when you're really young, it's glamorous and easy and a big self-esteem boost. And I think that I've seen over the years, about 20 years in this industry, I've grown myself, and I've seen others eventually say, okay, this won't last forever. So a lot of people go to school, they get degrees, they get married, they want to travel. They use it as a resource and a tool to eventually move on to something different. I've seen that happen time and time again.
Right. A lot of conservative people are probably thinking that you're sex workers of some sort.
Well, I guess that it could fall under the category of sex work, but it's not physically sex work. It's the illusion of it's more sensual work, and it is work. It is work. You have to take care of your body. You have to take care of your mind. You have to be smart with your money. You work long hours. A lot of people, including myself, like to learn how to pole dance, and that's hard work, and you hurt yourself, and you don't have health insurance, so you have to be very careful with everything that you do. But a lot of people just get up, take a shower, eat some toast, and go to work. That's not what it's like when you're a career dancer. You have to work out. You've got to have a healthy glow, so maybe you tan or you self-tan, or, taking care of your hair, teeth, nails, staying on the up and up with style. You got to stand out, You can't just blend into the crowd. People won't notice you, and then you're wasting your time.
Right.
So it's not like other jobs, because while you can't take work home mentally with you, you got to take work home with you to take care of yourself in order to continue to do the job and do it well and make good money and not waste your time.
Right. What's some of the crazy... All right, back to the original question. Yeah. What's some of the craziest things you've seen in clubs?
I've seen a lot of crazy shit.
I bet you have.
I've seen fights between dancers, between employees and customers. There have been shootings. There have been raids.
Like cops?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They were looking for undocumented workers. They weren't
Oh, okay.
looking for substance or anything or money laundering. They were
Okay.
ICE was coming through.
Okay.
So
Well,
that
that
was
must have been
different.
weird.
I actually wasn't there the last time that something like that happened at the place that I used to work, but I heard that it was really, really poorly managed, and that the officers were very condescending and unprofessional, which I'm not surprised about. Again, with the stigma,
Right.
around places like that. So, yeah, yeah. I think some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen was um, people getting injured. Like, I once saw a girl fall like 15 feet.
Off the stage?
And yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
She was the stage is up on a huge platform that's about 5 feet off the ground. And she was about halfway up the pole and lost her grip trying to do something pretty gnarly and just fell. And it was a small stage. So she fell on the edge of the stage and hit her flank, and it just bent her in half, and then she just kind of tumbled
Oh
all the
my
way,
God.
rest of the way on the floor. She got right back up, dusted herself off, climbed back on that stage, and kept working.
Oh my God. I bet
And
she got a lot of tips that night.
well, she got a lot of attention, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh. Holy
And a lot of people,
smokes.
including myself, were like, "Girl, are you okay?
Oh
Are
my
you
God.
okay? Like, do you need a break? Do you need to be examined,
Right.
But yeah, there's so much resilience, among these girls that people just don't see, and you've got to have it physically, mentally, and emotionally. So.
Right. Right. What was kind of mundane about it? So there's
The
two.
slow times.
Do what?
When it's slow and you're there, you feel like you're wasting your time. You get FOMO about your outside life.
Right.
And you just generally, it can be really, really discouraging when it's a slow season or a slow shift. Or if someone tries to take advantage of you, which does happen, tries to not pay you when you've obviously worked and done your job, and then their card doesn't go through, or they want to dispute how much they owe. That can be really frustrating, and yeah, it can be really hard not to get angry because you've got to keep your wits about you and stay diplomatic and stay charming to get paid.
Right.
And eventually, if that's not working, you got to go get the managers. You got to defer to other people and ask for help.
Have you ever seen crazy stuff with the management?
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen terrible management. I've seen great management. I've seen it all. I've seen managers that are wonderful to work for and work with and make it fun. I've seen managers that take advantage of the girls, try to sleep with the girls, date the girls, even married ones. I've seen a few female managers, and the few that I have worked with have all always been just top notch. Great women, good looking, very professional, lots of charisma, and they take it very seriously, and they're always like the mama bear protecting the girls.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, did you ever have a stigma? I mean, did you feel like by working there that you had a stigma?
Yeah, absolutely. I consider myself to be a pretty honest person, but sometimes it's just none of people's business.
Right.
But you meet people and you got to have something to say, and you don't always want people looking down their nose and treating you like shit when you're just out in your life. So
Right.
I would lie and say I'm a bartender, or I would just lean into the fact that I was in college, or or deflect, like, what haven't I done,
Right.
because I've done a lot of different jobs, As a teenager, I did landscaping. I've done some carpentry. I've sold vacuum cleaners on the phones. I worked for an answering service in the 90s. Done a lot of different types of jobs. So, there's just that level of not shame for me, but just that level of like, yeah, I'd rather not deal with anybody asking me about it when I'm just trying to do my thing.
Right.
Just trying to live, or judging me. So, you know, you got to protect your neck, right?
Right.
So if I got to tell a little white lie to a stranger about what I do, who cares? Like, you don't even care really. Like, you're just making small talk.
Right.
And who likes small talk?
So now you're not doing any of that.
No.
So do you miss it?
Yeah, of course I do. I miss the attention. I miss the money.
Like, so obviously, you know, what was the, can I ask? I don't even, I mean, you don't have to answer this,
Yeah.
but what's the maximum amount of money you've made?
Okay, so in a shift or like...
Break it down. Like,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I
The
mean,
most money I ever made in a shift
which is how many
was
hours?
About depends on where you're working, but mine were typically about 5 or 6.
Okay.
Most of the time.
Okay.
So I made over $7,000.
Damn.
In a 5-hour shift one time. Yeah.
No sex.
No, absolutely not. Not me. I've seen it all, but for me, that's a no. That's a no.
$7,000.
$7,000, and it was back in Arizona, at the club where I worked my way through college. It was. I don't remember what year it was, but the Super Bowl was there,
Okay.
and so that like whole week, I made like $15,000 that week.
Oh my God. Well, no shit. I'd be
Which is
doing
five,
it too.
Which is 5-hour shifts, so 25 hours. But that's not all that it took. You know?
Right.
Again, with the working out, the tanning, the eating well, you know, all
Looking
of it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's about 8 hours that you're putting into, with the shift included. You know, travel time, all that. Yeah. Like a week's worth of work, 40 hours, and I made over $15,000.
That's insane.
Yeah. Good times. Good times.
Good times. Good times.
Yes.
How do you think that shaped you as a person?
I think it kind of gave me a bit of a God complex, you know, and it made me even more hyper independent. You know, and I feel like it also gave me, how do I want to put this? I know that a lot of people struggle with making ends meet, and they do worry about money their whole lives. And that was something I never really had to do. I never had to worry about money. I could spend what I wanted to spend because I knew I could, and I was good with my money, you know. Just because I made $3,000 didn't mean I went out and bought a new pair of $3,000 shoes.
Right.
You know, $1,000 of that goes here, $1,000 of that goes there. My bills were paid months in advance. You know, I never had to have that monetary worry about things.
Right.
And I was typically always a good girl, well liked by everyone, so I never really had to bounce around to different clubs and have a bad reputation, getting fired or suspended, not getting in fights, you know, because that stuff happens too. You know,
Right.
there's all of that same thing that, you know, regular people go through with background checks and references and things like that. That holds true in,
You still
in the
have to
club
have
world
that?
as well. Yeah, because you can get a bad reputation around town if you drink too much and drive drunk and fight with the other girls, or if you're, you know, if you're a thief or try to take advantage of the customers. That stuff makes its way through the city, and eventually you'll get blacklisted and nobody will want to hire you. That's when you find a lot of girls that will live in a city and then they'll have to
Move out.
drive 2 hours away, you know, to work somewhere else. Like,
Right.
Austin's a small town. You don't want to have a bad rep here because it's closely knit. That culture is.
Right.
There's girls that can't work in this town, so they eventually either move or they drive 2 hours away to Dallas or Houston or Fort Worth or somewhere,
Gotcha.
you know. But typically, I like to stay in one location.
What brought you to Austin?
A guy
Yeah.
that it didn't work out with, but I'd been here, I'd visited, I'd been to festivals. I have friends from Michigan growing up that moved here, and they would come to Arizona to visit me. I'd come here to visit them, so I liked Austin. So
What'd you like about it?
the music scene, obviously. Yeah.
Big into music.
Yeah, and I liked how weird it was back then. I caught the tail end of the weirdness, chicken shit bingo and the weird homeless people and just generally just the kookiness. And
Did you ever see Leslie when he was around?
yeah, but I didn't really
I guess you say he or them or they or
yeah.
that's
I
new.
didn't I mean, I knew of him, and a lot of my friends knew him well, but yeah, him, they, them. Sorry.
What was that? We've known each other for a really long time. What is that festival I took you to one year? What?
Oh, Eeyore's birthday, where
Yeah.
I volunteer. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love Eeyore's birthday. It started out, it's over 60 years old now. This
Wow.
festival, and it started on UT campus. They were kicked off, and because it was like a 420 celebration.
Right.
It was on 420,
And for you pot
and they moved
smokers
it
out
to
there,
South
don't.
Park Meadows when that used to be a concert venue, like a grass concert venue. Now it's in Peace Park in the middle of Austin, and it's totally been commercialized, but in a good way. Do you know that this is the longest running music festival in Austin?
Really?
It's not a music festival, but it's the longest running festival in Austin with no admission fees and no deaths and no arrests.
Wow.
None.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. That is incredible.
Well, the goal of this festival now is to raise money for small nonprofit organizations that are pretty local. Austin Pets Alive, Bat Conservatories, Boys and Girls Club. And it's very transparent. You can go to the website and see over the years where the money goes. And they partner with a lot of local like breweries and different businesses that come and set up tents and donate their money, their profits as well. And it's just a really great time.
That's cool.
It's a great day.
That's cool.
Yes.
So, you've transitioned out of that world, the dance world. What do you do now?
I work for community care, and what led me there was getting hired to be a CHW, which is just like a community health worker. It's a certification, not a degree. I was hired on as a paid apprentice to learn what that is and how to do it. But basically, you help provide resources to the underserved populations, like how I grew up. So, the undocumented, the unhoused, low income, low health literacy. And you try to reach out to those people and connect them with food resources, transportation resources, clothes, shoes, access to learning more about their own health insurance, housing, and it's great. It's really fulfilling to be able to help these people, even though sometimes they may not be super grateful for the help or see just how hard it can be to do this day in and day out. But yeah, I like it because it's a way for me to stay grounded, remind myself that I'm super blessed and that I've had a great life, and that it's important to be able to give back and meet people where they're at, and all in all have some empathy for what other people are going through.
So, with your upbringing and everything like that, you now realize that you did have a good life.
Yeah.
You had a really good life.
Oh, sure. I've had a great life, and it's not even over yet. Bold of you to think I peaked.
No, I'm just saying. Oh, my goodness. So, what do you do on a daily?
Well, I have a crazy schedule because I work 3.5 days a week, 40 hours. So 4 hours on one day and then 3 12s in a row. But that way I have half my week off. So if I want to, I can do a little adventure. I can just sit around. I have time to spend with my loved ones. I don't have to use my PTO just to go to my own medical and dental appointments and do things during business hours. And yeah, it gives me that freedom that I need, that I crave, that like dancing did and traveling does. Just
That has to be a big shift. So, what
it
are
is.
some of the things that you've experienced since this shift? I mean, because you used to be an independent contractor, and now you're actually going into an office.
It's
So,
weird. It's weird because if you're never late whenever you show up to work at the club. You're not late. You're just getting there when you're getting there. But with this job, I do have authority figures. I don't feel like they really abuse that power. They see it as a team effort. How do we move forward? How do we correct mistakes and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's got me looking at the clock in a whole new way, and I don't really like it. But I'm adjusting. I've been with community care about 3 months now, and getting up early is the hard part because there were some nights where I'm definitely still awake at that time that my alarm is now going off. So it's a
right.
shift. It's a shift.
You going to stick with it?
Yeah, for a while. After that apprenticeship ended this past January, I was really hoping. I had like 9 interviews in a month, and only got a couple interests. And this one was one of the best jobs that I could get at the time. And I don't have a lot of experience, so what I'm hoping to do is stick with this for a while, gain more experience on the health literacy side of things, and then try to go back to doing the CHW work, because ultimately what I want to do is outreach programs for the unhoused, because I know what it's like to be unhoused.
So, how'd you get into healthcare?
Oddly enough, one of my customers from work, his sister works for Central Health, works for this company, and she loves it. She does really well with it, and was telling him that they were going to start this apprenticeship program. Like, I was in the very first cohort ever. And they had over 75 applicants, but hired 5 of us. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I kind of had a little bit of, he had a little bit of, I don't really feel like there was anything unsavory going on there, but all I did was hear about it, and he said he would gas me up to his sister. He did, but, I'm still running up against people that have been in healthcare.
Right.
That have been corporate, so they took a chance on me, and I'm glad they did.
What's your biggest challenge day to day?
My biggest challenge day to day right now is my language barrier, because most of the patients that I help are solely Spanish speaking. So I have to use an interpreter line, which makes everything take twice as long because everything's being repeated back and forth. I am learning Spanish, but it's a slow process, and I'm starting at the very beginning. And so it's not very helpful to me when all I really want to do is say, what are your symptoms?
Right.
Like, can I see your insurance card? You were late to your appointment, so I need to message the nurse and see if they'll still see you. Things like that.
So that's probably your biggest challenge overall, right?
Yes.
So, lessons for the audience. What would you say to someone who feels trapped?
Trapped how?
Like, say you were that young person in your early 20s, and what kind of advice would you give that person that feels trapped in that world? That
you're never trapped. You're never, and if you feel that way, then you need to look within, do some self-assessment. Start gassing yourself up. Look at yourself and say, what are my best qualities? And how do I utilize those to my benefit, to push me forward, to help me evolve, and to ultimately be happy with who I evolve into and what environment I find myself down the road.
If you could go back and tell your younger self something, what would you tell yourself?
Girl, you're doing all right. Just don't let these bastards get you down.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Keep rolling with the punches,
Keep rolling. Yeah. You're doing just fine. Life's short. Enjoy it.
What does resilience mean to you?
To me, resilience ultimately means that you've gone through adversity, that you've gone through things, and usually people that are very resilient have either had some kind of support throughout their dark times, or they've done it completely on their own and been their own support system. Either way, you found a way to assess, realize that things could get better, self-talk in a positive way, push yourself forward, and make those changes.
Right.
And that is one of the most respectable things I think that human beings can do.
What have you learned about forgiveness throughout your however many years of your life?
That's a really good question, because you know me very well.
I know you very well.
You know that if somebody does me really wrong, that there's no coming back from that.
That's right. We're kind of the same in that respect.
Yes, very much so. There's a lot that I can forgive. There's stuff that I've gone through that I should not have been forgiving about. But what I have ultimately learned is that you don't have to forgive. You don't. But if you're angry about the things that you've gone through or that people have put you through, that's only going to harm yourself. So letting go is just as good as forgiveness. Forgive when it's applicable and let go when it's not. But hanging on to the past is like trying to drive forward looking in the rearview mirror the whole time. You're going to crash.
Right.
And you're going to continuously crash. You can't have a foot in the past and a foot in the future, because then you're not standing in the present. So
that's good advice. What have you learned about self-respect?
Self-respect doesn't always come easy. But if you don't find a way to give it to yourself, then you won't get respect from anyone else. So, again, self-assess, look at yourself in the mirror and say, these are the good qualities that I have. I'm worthy. I'm growing. I'm here. I have a lot to be grateful for, and there's a lot more to come. Self-talk,
Right. What is the one thing people should never give up on?
Themselves. And change. Don't ever give up on the idea of change. It's inevitable. It's constant. It's slow. Sometimes it's fast and violent and invasive, but don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in a rut. Don't get stuck in your normal. Don't be afraid of things evolving. That's I feel like that's hell, is plateauing, not being willing to move forward.
Yeah.
Take a chance, face fears.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Like, what do I want people to say at my funeral?
Yeah.
That I was kind and a badass and kind of a bitch.
I could agree with all three.
That's true.
Well, that is, let's see, I have one more.
Yeah.
When people hear your story years from now, what do you hope they remembered?
I can only hope, again, that people see that I was kind and that I showed up for my people and that I wanted my ripple effect to be something positive, something that people can find a way to encourage them to be able to let go, to be able to be strong and brave and grateful, because it is all just a flash in the pan.
I'm truly grateful, man. You showed up. That's when you know.
Damn right.
When people are your people. Whenever somebody is going through hell, and you show up.
Everybody's your friend when you're on the up and up, but when the chips are down, that's who you find.
That's right.
You find out who you're.
That is right. That's what I've learned. Yeah, people may call you and want to get the information of what's going on, but it's the people that show up, and the people that keep showing up, and that's what gets you through it, right?
Yeah, and to speak to the fact that people want to call and they want to know, I feel like people do that just so that they can do that internal comparison of where you're at and where they're at, so that maybe they can feel better about themselves,
right?
Or feel superior in some kind of way,
right?
Or maybe they heard you out, so they're absolved of
or
not
you've
having
been
to show
tagged
up
in
or,
thousands
or
of
judge
posts.
You. Exactly. That's why it's always like. That's why I'm such a private person. It's like, when I'm going through it, there are very few people that I'll tell that I'm going through it.
Right.
Because, most people do not fucking care.
They don't.
They're not going to fucking show up for
you.
They're not going to adjust their schedule, their life, and, even some of their own annoyance with the process of being there.
Right.
For another person while they're in the thick of it. Because it is work. It is work, and it is not easy. But if you really care about those people that you say you do,
right,
then you show up anyway.
That's right.
So.
Damn right. You did too. I mean, you're like 40 minutes away, and that's not in traffic. So it's like,
I'm like 25, I think.
Oh, is it 25?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay.
About 25 minutes. I would have been
an hour
on time
if there's
today,
traffic.
But I was trying to do it without GPS like a badass, and I'm like, I turned the wrong way.
It's all right. It's all right. Thank you for showing up. It's
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Always. If you ever want to sit, now that everybody knows who you are, if you ever want to, sit here and just bullshit for.
I want to interview you.
You want to? We can interview me. I mean,
put you on the hot seat.
Well, put me on the hot seat.
All right. All right. I'll come up with a question list then.
All right. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I'll come
well,
up
thank
with
you
some
for being on the show.
Yes.
We'll definitely do it again next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know me. I'll tell you anything. I'll tell the whole fucking world anything.
Oh, so. Yeah. Whoever's listening.
That 3,500 people right now.
Hey, it's going to be more. Just you wait.
Hopefully. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time. God bless. Later. You pushed me down, thought I'd stay on the ground, counting me out like the numbers didn't matter. But pressure builds diamonds in the dark, and I've been sharpening my edge in the chatter. Every scar turned into strategy, every setback fueled my clarity. I took the hits, learned the game, turned my losses into flame. Now I'm coming back strong, and you'll remember my name. I'm rising through the fire, breaking every wall you built around me. Heart's a battle drum, beating louder, a force you'll never drown. See, this is my return, my moment, my power. I'm rising, yeah, I'm rising.
Did you hear LeRoy is about to sue a lot of people?